On Earth, the old man sat at his computer, watching Bjorn's achievements unfold on the screen. He was utterly shocked by the feats Bjorn had accomplished. Turning to his assistant, he asked, "How many people have reached the second floor on their first attempt?" She replied, "To my knowledge, only 117 have ever managed it." He then asked, "And among them, has anyone been in conditions as dire as Bjorn's?" Her answer was firm, none. The old man pulled up Bjorn's stats from when he acquired the Vampire Guardian. As he reviewed them, his expression changed to one of deep admiration. "These stats are extraordinary," he said, "even compared to people who've been at this for years. Yet he achieved all this in just 2 months. The assistant shrugged. "Even for someone unlucky with a bit of luck, it's not entirely impossible." The old man shook his head. If luck alone were enough, there would have been at least one comparable case. This is an irregularity. There's no comparable sample. Normally, the more data you have, the less significant luck becomes as a factor in statistics. But then there are cases like Bjorn's cases that defy the odds. The story of Bjorn's first day came to mind. The party that saved Bjorn through the portal had later discovered blood marks where he had dragged himself. Bjorn had pulled himself 15 kilometers before encountering them. His survival wasn't just luck, it was struggle and perseverance. Time and again, Bjorn survived against overwhelming odds, and it wasn't by luck alone. The old man leaned back in his chair, lost in thought, recalling the days when people dismissed the game as a failure. Ariel Gabi's final words echoed in his mind. Even if just one person in a lifetime can complete this properly, it will tilt the balance of that side in their favor. Back to Bjorn. Bjorn returned to reality from the spirit realm. As they had explained, an hour in the spirit realm equaled a second in this world. It had only been 12 seconds since he entered, but he remained cautious, knowing that this also meant he would be defenseless for 12 seconds. Exhaustion weighed on him. His mind had been active for 12 hours. Deciding to rest, he went to bed, knowing he had to visit Baron Mardon's house in the morning. The next afternoon, in the first district of the imperial capital, Bjorn was dressed as a typical barbarian from old tales. He walked ahead of Baron Martoin's wagon, escorting him to the Count's party. Along the way, the Baron's butler stopped him, clearly annoyed. "I told you to maintain dignity. Look straight ahead and carry yourself as the leader of this procession," the butler barked. Bjorn casually pretended to clear his ear and ignored him. The journey to the Count's house was 6 kilometers under the blazing summer sun. Bjorn was alone in his role, but Baron Martoin noticed the attention they were drawing. "This is the first time I've received so much attention just by arriving," the Baron commented. "I'll reward you generously for this." When they entered the party, whispers began to circulate among the noble families. A woman remarked, "It's dangerous to leave him alone." A little boy said innocently, "I want to buy one like him." Bjorn hadn't expected to be treated like a zoo animal. Then, a man approached him and said, "Good job. Walking that far in such an outfit without a break is impressive. Do you want to rest until the Baron arrives?" Bjorn, slightly surprised, agreed and followed the man to a quiet corner. Curious, Bjorn asked, "Is it okay for you to not mingle with the others?" The man smirked. "Even if I went, I wouldn't be welcomed. I used to be an explorer like you." Bjorn nodded, understanding why this man saw potential in him. Introducing himself, Bjorn asked for the man's name. "Karl's Aramor," the man said. Bjorn found Karl's refreshingly decent, unlike the typical arrogance of knights. His thoughts were interrupted by the arrival of the butler, who hissed at Bjorn, "Who told you to rest?" Karl's interjected, "I did." The butler didn't argue but leaned closer to Bjorn and whispered, "If you're done resting, get up. What will people think if they see a barbarian sitting down?" Bjorn smirked. "What else would they think? Oh, he's resting." The butler's tone grew louder. "They'll think you're weak. Today you must embody the warrior of iron and blood." Bjorn thought to himself, if it weren't for the 1,000,000 stones. But then, as if deciding to embrace the role entirely, he stood up and declared to himself, "Fine. Since I'm here, I'll act exactly as I want as an iron-blooded warrior. A barbarian who rejects civilization. Barbarian the wild." Donning his horned helmet, Bjorn let out a thunderous shout, drawing everyone's attention. The butler looked aghast. "What are you doing?" Bjorn grinned. "I just felt like it." He grabbed a piece of meat with a bone and began eating it savagely. At first the butler was confused, but as the murmurs of the crowd grew, his expression shifted to delight. "This is perfect," the butler exclaimed. Bjorn placed a heavy hand on the butler's shoulder. his voice low and menacing. "I feel like crushing your skull." The butler paled. "You're going too far with your jokes." Bjorn bit into the bone, his teeth cracking it audibly. "Does it sound like a joke to you?"